Stop, don't swipe away. This isn't random and you already feel that. Something in you paused for a reason. Right now, yes, this exact moment, something greater than logic is pulling your attention here. Not chance, not coincidence, design. And if you leave now, you'll miss what was meant to find you, because there's a message pressing in on your life tonight, and it's not subtle. You are being seen, not casually, not distantly, completely. There's a voice, quiet but undeniable, reaching into the deepest part of you, the part you don't show anyone. And it's calling you by name. Stay. Because what's unfolding right now is not just another video. It's a moment that was arranged long before you understood what you were searching for. Something is shifting. You can feel it, can't you? That strange stillness. That pull in your chest. That awareness that something important is happening. Even if you can't explain it, that's not your imagination. That's alignment. And if you stay until the very end, everything that once felt confusing will begin to make sense. But first, listen carefully. Right now, something powerful is being spoken over your life. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, you are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are not just another face moving through time. You are chosen, intentionally, specifically, undeniably. And something in you already knows this is true. That's why you didn't scroll. That's why you're still here. Because deep down, your spirit recognizes truth before your mind catches up. So don't interrupt this moment. Stay with it. Right now, there's a clearing happening around you, like invisible walls breaking apart, like noise fading into silence. Old beliefs, false identities, quiet lies you carried without questioning, they're being dismantled. And what replaces them? Clarity. But clarity only comes if you don't walk away, so prove it to yourself. Type Amen in the comments right now. Not for anyone else. This is for you. It's a signal, a line drawn, a decision that you're not ignoring this moment. Because the moment you commit, something begins to respond. You might not see it yet, but it's already in motion. Right now, everything around your life is adjusting. Paths are shifting, timing is recalibrating. And it's all happening because you stayed. Listen, there's a reason things didn't work out the way you expected. A reason certain doors stayed shut. A reason some seasons felt heavier than you could carry. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. But you couldn't see it then. You were too close to the struggle to understand the design. Now you're starting to see differently. Now you're beginning to feel it, that sense that something bigger has always been at work behind the scenes of your life. And you're right, because what's coming required a version of you that didn't exist yet, until now. That's why you're here, not earlier, not later. Now stay, because what you're about to realize next changes everything. You've made it this far for a reason. Don't break focus now. Because what's about to unfold is the piece you were missing, the one that explains why your life never quite fit the patterns you saw around you. You were never meant to follow what everyone else was doing. That discomfort you felt in certain spaces, that quiet resistance inside you, that sense that something was off even when everything looked normal, that wasn't weakness, that was awareness. You were never designed for surface-level living. You were built for depth, for meaning, for something that required more from you than just existing. And that's exactly why your path felt harder, not because you were behind, but because you were being shaped. Every delay, every rejection, every moment you questioned your worth, it was all refining you, sharpening you, preparing you to carry something most people never will. And now you're stepping into the part where it begins to make sense. Feel that shift, that quiet certainty building underneath your thoughts. That's not hope, that's recognition, because something inside you is waking up. And once it fully wakes up, there's no going back to who you used to be. Stay with this. Right now, something is being revealed to you, not through logic, but through knowing. You were never ordinary, you were never random. You were marked from the beginning, not by chance, but by intention. Before you ever tried to prove yourself, before you ever doubted your value. There was already a decision made about you. You were claimed, chosen, set apart, not because you earned it, not because you were perfect, but because you were seen fully and still selected. Let that land, because everything in the world has trained you to believe the opposite, that you have to achieve more to be worthy, that you have to become something else to be accepted. But that's not truth. Truth is this: you were already enough before you ever tried. And the moment you actually accept that, everything changes. The way you move, the way you think, the way you respond to fear, because you're no longer operating from lack, you're operating from identity. And identity is power. But most people never reach this point. They scroll away, they distract themselves. They avoid the moment where everything could shift. You didn't, you're still here, which means you're closer than you think. Right now, I want you to do something again. Type this in the comments. I am chosen. Don't overthink it, just do it. Because when you say it, when you declare it, you interrupt the old narrative that's been running in the background of your life. You replace it with something stronger, something real. And from this point forward, that truth starts to take root. Stay, because this is where it deepened. You felt pain that didn't make sense. You've carried weight you couldn't explain. You've had nights where your thoughts were louder than your faith. And still, you kept going. That wasn't random strength. That was something inside you refusing to collapse. Something that knew, without evidence, that your story wasn't over, that something bigger was coming. And now you're standing at the edge of it, right here, right now. This is the turning point, the moment where everything starts to realign. But only if you stay all the way through, because what's coming next is the truth that unlocks everything you've been trying to understand. Don't lose this now, because this is the moment where everything connects. All the confusion, all the waiting, all the questions that never had clear answers. They weren't random fragments, they were pieces, and right now they're locking into place. You've been searching for clarity outside yourself for a long time, looking for signs, for validation, for something or someone to confirm what you felt deep down. But here's the truth you were always circling. You weren't waiting for permission. You were waiting for recognition, not from the world, from within. And that recognition is happening right now. That quiet shift you feel, that stillness replacing the noise, that's what it feels like when truth lands, not loud, not chaotic, unshakable. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it, so stay steady. Because this next realization is where everything changes direction. You were never being held back, you were being held in place. There's a difference. One weakens you, the other prepares you. Think about it. Every time something didn't work out, every time you felt like you were stuck while others moved ahead, every time you questioned why your progress looked slower. What if that was delay? What if it was protection? Protection from stepping into something before you were ready to sustain it. Protection from paths that looked right, but would have drained you. Protection from becoming someone you were never meant to be. You didn't miss out, you were redirected. And now you're arriving fully equipped. That's why things are starting to feel different. That's why your perspective is shifting. Because you're no longer seeing life from confusion. You're seeing it from alignment. And alignment changes everything. Opportunities start looking different. People start revealing themselves clearly. Decisions become sharper. Because you're no longer guessing, you're recognizing. Stay with this. Because what you're stepping into isn't just a new mindset. It's a new identity, the version of you that doesn't chase validation, that doesn't shrink to fit, that doesn't question their worth every time something goes wrong. That version is here now, not later, now. And this is where most people hesitate, right here. The edge of becoming. Because stepping into this version of yourself means letting go of who you've been, letting go of old stories, old excuses, old limits, and that's uncomfortable, but staying the same, that costs more. So don't pull back now, lean in, because this next step is yours to claim. Type this in the comments. I am rising. As motivation, as confirmation, because you're not trying to become something anymore. You're recognizing what you already are. And once you lock into that, your energy changes. Your standards rise, your direction sharpens, you stop chasing and start attracting, you stop doubting and start deciding. And people will notice, not because you told them, but because your presence shifts. Your silence becomes stronger than your words, your focus becomes unbreakable, your path becomes clear. This is what transformation actually feels like. Not instant, but undeniable, and you're in it, right now. So don't interrupt it, don't go back to distractions. Don't shrink this moment down to something ordinary. Because it's not. This is where your life begins to move differently, where things that once felt blocked begin to open, where the effort you've been putting in starts to return, where the version of you that you felt but couldn't fully access finally steps forward. And when that happens, you'll understand why none of it was wasted, not the pain, not the waiting, not even the doubt. It all led here, to this exact shift, this exact awareness. This exact version of you. Stay until the very end. Because there's one final truth you need to hear, and it's the one that anchors everything you've just realized. This is it. Don't drift now. Because what you're about to hear is the anchor that holds everything together. all the awareness, all the clarity, all the shifts happening inside you right now, they lead to this. You are not becoming valuable. You are realizing that you always were. Read that again, slowly. Because your entire life you were conditioned to believe your worth was something to earn, something to prove, something that could be gained or lost. But that was never truth, that was programming. And now it's breaking right here, right now. That's why this moment feels intense, why it feels heavier than a normal realization. Because you're not just hearing something new, you're unlearning something old, and that changes everything. From this point forward, you don't move the same. You don't tolerate the same. You don't settle the same. Because once you truly understand your value, you stop negotiating it. Stay with this. Because this next part is where it locks in. You are not here to fit into spaces that shrink you. You are not here to chase approval from people who don't recognize you. You are not here to live a life that feels disconnected from who you are. You've tried that, and it never felt right. Now you know why. Because you were built for something else, something aligned, something real. And from this moment on, you choose that, not someday, now. Feel the difference, that shift from hesitation to decision. That's power. That's what happens when identity becomes clear and clarity removes fear. Because fear survives in uncertainty, but right now you're certain. You're not guessing who you are anymore. You're stepping into it fully. So lock this in. Type this in the comments. My identity is secure. As a trend, not because someone told you to, but because you understand it, because you feel it, because you know it. And when you declare it, something inside you stabilizes. Something becomes unshakable, and that's what carries you forward, because life will still test you, situations will still challenge you, but you won't collapse the same way, because now you're grounded, rooted, certain. This is the version of you that doesn't break under pressure, the version that doesn't look for exits when things get uncomfortable, the version that knows exactly who they are, even when everything around them is uncertain. That's who you are now, not eventually, now. And this is where your life starts responding differently. Because the moment you stop questioning your worth, you stop accepting anything that contradicts it. Opportunities align, people shift, doors open, not because the world changed, but because you did. And everything adjusts to that. So don't dilute this moment. Don't scroll away and forget what you just realized. Because this wasn't just information, this was activation. Something inside you has been turned on, and it doesn't turn off, not after this. You've crossed a line now. You see too clearly to go back. You feel too deeply to ignore it. You understand too much to pretend you don't. So from here, you move differently. You think differently. You live differently. And when you look back at this moment, you'll recognize it for what it was, the point where everything changed. Stay grounded in that. Carry it forward. And don't wait for another moment like this. You already found it right here, right now.